Metafizzler presents a night of mysticism and intellect, exploring what is reality.
Said is that we control how reality shows up for us.
Said that we are here to praise and fear and appreciate God.
First is there is no real in reality.
Reality includes every different possibility.
And then after you evolve, after you figured all that out, you begin to
belief, this deep-seated belief that when time progresses, it's real, but much more real than the kind of...
Well, first of all, the universe was organized intelligently. I think if you look at every branch of science is so complex that I have a tough time believing that this complexity that we see around us resulted from a random explosion. Okay, let's go back to my car again. Okay, let's say it explodes, God forbid, in the parking lot right now. I don't care how many years go by, it is not going to reassemble itself and then turn into something even better than a Toyota. So I've got a tough time believing that. In fact, I don't believe at all that a spontaneous and random explosion occurred one day and that 14 billion years later created the complexity of thinking human beings, photosynthesis that exchanges carbon dioxide for oxygen, and every other underlying complexity of science. In fact, if you look a little deeper, there is it's called mathematical fine-tuning. If our universe was mathematically off by 1 quintillion, that's a decimal point, 14 zeros, and then a 1. If it was off by that level, that minute level of precision, gravity as we know it wouldn't exist, stars wouldn't be able to support themselves, and everything we see around us would just not be able to exist. So I think that right there shows us that God is a mathematician. He's not doing this by magic. And we have peered into the mind of God somewhat in our ability to understand science.
And my family's religion when I was growing up said that we are here to praise and fear and appreciate God and all that He has provided. This answer struck me as unlikely. We ourselves have to craft the meaning of our lives, literally write the book and shape the reality.
But reality includes every different possibility that you could think of, and many of the ones you can't possibly imagine.
We think that reality is something that's solid, fixed, doesn't ever change, that we can get a hold of it and hold on to it and feel secure with it. Reality is as numerous as the people that are here plus.
said is that we control how reality shows up for us. What you see or are aware of in your consciousness that is full of your own consciousness, in particular your conscious and subconscious mind, and at that particular level, your superconscious mind, that is your reality.
In my journeys with the shamanic path, I enter other realities, other dimensions, and they're just as real as this.
I think reality is about power. This means we make reality, but also reality makes us.
It's just as simple as this. I believe your experience plus your beliefs plus your education divided by how you feel about that, those three things equals your reality. And then after you evolve, after you figured all that out, you begin to realize this is an illusion. I'm in a movie. I'm sitting in a movie watching reality go by. And so once I realized that, okay, I'm watching it go by, I don't have to be a part of it in a second. You know how different elements come from gas states to liquid states to solid states? I think we're evolving to a solid state, which is ultimately love. Love is the solid state that we all want to get to. So
Stories that are being told. fear in and of itself does cause change in reality insofar as if you're in a physical being on this plane of existence, in this dimension, and you feel fear, then what happens is you have a chemical reaction within your body, which changes your actual physical body for a period of time. So in that respect, it is.
And I noticed you said if you're a physical being in this reality, right? So you're saying there's multiple realities.
Yes, I am saying.
So is there a reality where they don't experience fear, or feel that fear isn't part of their reality?
Since I haven't visited all of them, I don't know. And that's an honest. That it does have to do with language, it does have to do with story, it does have to do with the constraints that we put around the situations and experiences that we have.
Just that they're both, our understanding of God and our understanding of science are both our own construction.
And religion and spirituality, as we all know, are two different things. So I think they could talk about it and be okay, but
I disagree.
don't hold your breath.
Thank you.
I disagree.
Okay.
I more agree with the shaman that what is taking place today is that the scientists are discovering that there is a mathematical formula, if you will, to the world. And what is taking place is that they are also, the shaman has always said that it is what is inside of us that is creating what we see.
What is the reality that we as a species should be trying to prove real? And I'm going to throw that down to Sean. I saw that your hand was up and you haven't had a chance to kind of jump in.
I think as a species, we need to prove that we're all connected and we're all one, basically. I mean, once we can prove that to ourselves scientifically, then there's a lot of implications that come behind that in terms of how we actually live together on the earth right now and how we treat the rest of man. We treat the trees, we treat everything else because we begin to see our oneness. And I think the complexity of it is relative to just where we are right now in humanity, because the things that are complex to people 3,000 years ago are no longer complex to us now. And so I think we'll evolve to a place even more where the things that are very complex to us now won't be as complex 1,000 years from now as we continue to evolve.
Well, I would say that this, I would call this teleological thinking, that this belief, this deep-seated belief that when time progresses or moves forward, things will get better, is an ideology. That I don't think that exists. Unfortunately, I think things are work in spirals, and sometimes in downward spiral. In Germany in the 30s and the Nazis, we saw that a lot of things that had been considered very progressive were turned around miserably. Yeah, and I'm sure that we all have an example from our own cultures of that. So I'm wondering whether this just very optimistic belief in progressiveness is not part of a belief system that might be part of a narrative. Yeah, and I'm harping on that narrative thing again.
So I believe that even in regard to Adolf Hitler and what was going on in Germany, you had the highlighting of that this man is actually trying to destroy a particular, he's practicing genocide. He wants to move it out. And now we move to this day where you have Dr. King says, we've created one thing, but now we've got to actually be a brotherhood. We've got to be one. Whichever way you do that is taken. So there's a movement forward. It is a truth claim, so to speak, but there is a movement forward that I see that is taking place. And even what we're doing here, we have this conversation, and I appreciate what Key said, Tyrone said, is that, no, there was no disagreement. Let me re-explain this. Let me present this. And we're all doing that. And I think all of the universe is actually doing that same thing.
But the problem is that the oneness that you two are talking about is a very troublesome oneness to me, because not everybody gets to define what that oneness is. Do you see what I mean? There are groups of people who cannot partake in defining what humanity should evolve.
And who gets to define what ethical
conduct is and what moral conduct is also something that we have to ask ourselves. Who are the people in power that get to say, this is moral behavior, or this is an ethics that we're going to adhere to? Yeah? And that has nothing. That has nothing to do. It has everything and nothing to do with the real. Yeah, in a strange way, it defines the real, but that real is very, very malleable, I would say. So.
Well done.